This song is saying that we are so thankful to be African, and if you're young, hopefully you'll feel it down in your toes one day and be real thankful that your mom and dad is African. I am so thankful to be African. Oh, yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I am so thankful to be African. Oh, yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I know the ancestors and elders are smiling every day because they know we are Jose, the Church of the African Way. I am so thankful to be African. Oh, yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Yes, I am.
I love you, and you love me. That's the way it's supposed to be. It's God's destiny. It was meant to be. We should live together as one. In God's creation, hatred should never be. There's a master plan to destroy you and me. It was meant to be. It's God's destiny. We should live together as one. I am so thankful to be African. Oh, yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Yes, I am.
I am so thankful to be African. Oh, yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Yes, I am.
And you should be too, every day.
Well done, Jeff. Well done.
Ashe.
Shay. Amin Rahatep. Uncle Justinet.
Uncle Johnson.
Good morning, Jose. I am Rana. I am going to be hosting our celebration today, this first day of August already. I apologize, I'm having older people problems in that I can't figure out which pair of glasses will let me see the best. So bear with me this morning, it's just amazing. For those of you who have not been with us before, welcome. This is our Sunday celebration. Next, we're going to have the affirmation done by Mama Ngina and Baba Ustadi. And then following that, we're going to have a song by Baba Damu. So I just wanted you to prick your ears up, Baba Damu. So Mama Ngina and Baba Ustadi, if you please come forward for the affirmation, please.
And good morning to everyone. This is the time, one of the other tenets of WOSE are what we believe, what we practice, our affirmations are just reminders of who we are and what our charge here at WOSE is. So I will start this off, our community affirmation. We will know God's truth to be free and self-determined. Baba Ustadi.
Creator, help us to remember the humanity, glory, and suffering of our ancestors, and to honor the struggles of our elders.
Let us strive to bring new vision and light to our people. Let there be peace and harmony among us.
Let us be loving, sharing, and creative. Let us work, study, and listen so that we may learn, teach, and cultivate self-reliance.
Grant us power, O Holy One, as we struggle to resurrect our hearts and our homeland.
We will raise our children according to the needs of our nation with discipline, patience, devotion, and courage. We will strive to be the living model of the new direction of our people.
We are an African people.
We are children of God.
Ashe.
Baba Ustadi, if you're ready, we're ready. Or sorry, Baba Damu. Baba Damu, don't make me sing. Are you there?
Baba Damu, you're still on mute. Baba Damu, you're on mute. Thank you, brother.
I'm sorry. I didn't know if I was on.
And one out. Ashe. Can we give a hand, please?
Ashe,
We please give
oh,
a hand.
Ashe, Ashe,
Brother
Ashe.
Damu.
Ashe.
Baba Damu, that was so beautiful. I didn't know where that was going, but it was taking me someplace that I wanted to be. So thank you.
Thank you, Sister Ronna. I felt your spirit. I always do. I'm just so happy to be here with all of the beautiful spirits and souls here at Wose this morning. It's always a blessing. It's always a blessing. So I'm so glad that you like the song.
Yes, thank you so much. Ashe. It was yeah, okay. Y'all know how.
Yeah, that
I
was
totally
another
agree.
composition
Okay.
by the gentleman
So
whose
next
song
up,
I played. No, I was just saying that's another song by
okay.
Dr. Billy Taylor, who also wrote the
Okay.
song I played a couple of Sundays ago called I Wish I Knew How It Felt to Be Free. That was a
Okay.
composition by,
Well,
called Spiritual.
Thank you for telling us that so that those of us not familiar know who to look up and listen to some more of what they've done and see how we like it. So thank you so much for giving us the historical
Yes,
aspect of
Dr.
it.
Billy Taylor, may he rest in peace. One of our beautiful ancestors. Beautiful.
Okay.
Pianist and composer.
Okay. Thank you so much. The next person that's coming up is going to be Sister Mariana. And I just wanted to take advantage of the fact that I have the mic right now. Shouldn't have gave it to me. And I want to say, I just want to really thank all of the people who are here today. And if they're not here today, tell them I said it, from other states that come and celebrate with us. DC, Alabama, Texas, Africa, wherever it is that you choose to take your Sunday and come and be with us. I am so appreciative of you. We are so fortunate that whatever brought you here continues to bring you back. And my prayer today is that the Most High will continue to feed that seed that has been planted in you so that, as Sister Alicia said in the prayer, maybe somebody will see a glow in you. Maybe somebody will see something in your walk. Maybe somebody will detect a certain je ne sais quoi that makes them say, whatever that person's got going on in their life, I'd like some of that. And you can talk to them about Wose, and you can go back to our original plan, which is where there's how many of us? That was all we needed in order to get another Wose going. And I'm gonna tell you, DC, I'm watching you because your numbers are looking kind of good. And I'm thinking, a book club, a meeting once a month, something in Catchy with your bad self should be coming up on the agenda at sometime soon. So again, I just wanted to take the time out to say, wherever you are, we appreciate you. You are a part of us. We are stronger together. We love you. We see you. We hear you. We acknowledge you. And just thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I hope I just got the energy up some because my sister Mariana, who's about to come, is about to give it to you. So without further ado, Sister Mariana, please come on and talk to us about those African can-do survival skills. Come on, sister.
Good morning, everybody. Throw up your ba, throw up your ka, your comedic symbols of power, of soul, of spirit alignment, all the way up to the sun. Feel it go through your third eye, down your spine. Let it go through circles around your heart, which is as light as a feather today. Shoot through your legs and hit to the center of the core of this planet and give thanks. I hope you got chills because I lightweight got some here. So, as you know, I'm here to give you your African safety session because I rocks with that Harriet Tubman spirit. And that means that it's not always about talking about the problems, but putting advanced solutions into our lives. And this is something that I've been dedicated to in community at a variety of capacities, mentally, emotionally, but today we're going to talk about physically. So as you know, some numbers is rising in terms of these biowarfare and all kind of things that we're dealing with, right? And so now we're not new to this. We're true to the principles of how this government works, right? And I'm not here to talk about all the isms and schisms. I'm here to talk about the solutions. And one thing that some of your old school folks know about, we've kind of abandoned, and it is a crisis prevention. It is a safety awareness tool that I think we need to get back into. It actually falls under the principle of collective work and responsibility, as well as cooperative economics. Now, you know us as a people, we like everything when there's some rhythm to it. So I'm going to remix the title and call it rhythm shopping, meaning we need to get to the point where we start bulk shopping on a rhythm, meaning that we find who is in our immediate neighborhoods, whether it's our Wose family or our community members, and start going and bulk shopping together, y'all. When we got these, warnings this time last year, people were in the stores acting a fool. And they had to make an elder shopping hour just because things were unsafe. I'm concerned about us when we go out just as African people living in this American space, but we also have to understand the power of pooling our money together and making sure to shop on a rhythm. A lot of us go day by day when it goes to shopping. So we're talking about economic safety, we're talking about group collective shopping safety, and we're also talking about budgeting so that we have our food last us out. That means that 2 or 3 big mamas get together. I got $40 on a couple of pounds of rice. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I got the peanut butter, right? Some of those non-perishables that when we go in droves together as a group, we can get so much more. Now it also celebrates the principle of uvumoja, which is unity. After you go to that farmer's market or go to Sam Clubs and buy in bulk, take yourself back and let's get back to Sunday dinner, but also Sunday food prep, where you all bring your own Ziplocs or your Tupperwares that are pre-rinsed out. You come together, throw that good documentary on, put that good Fela Kuti on, listen to Dr. Cress Welsing, whatever it is, and collectively portion out. Not shop and say, okay, girl, I'll get with you next week. And then you're sitting on 20 pounds of rice. But doing it once a month or once every 2 weeks on a rhythm. That way we can buy in bulk. We can buy collectively with our dollar. We go back home, we sit down and we do our food prep. Even if that means we decide we don't want to just portion it out, we can actually cook up that big pot of beans and have it ready for a week or two and freeze half. So I feel that it's very important that we get back to some of our ancient African ways and understand that as African people, our history has always been safety minded. Even if you are an African that eats animal, you eat the animal from the rooter to the tutor and you leave nothing to waste. We are very wasteful when we're buying a bag of spinach here and there and half of it goes bad, except for Baba Imhotep. I've seen him eat spinach like a wild animal. He could eat the whole bag in one go. But let's keep it pushing and remember, bulk shopping, unity with our dollars, cooperative economics, and doing our rhythm bulk shopping. We can stretch our dollar, we can get some fellowship in, and ain't nothing like sharing some good old recipes and portioning out what your hard-earned money is going toward. So if you're getting another stimulus or you got some of them food stamps, y'all pull them together and do what you got to do to stretch that dollar and have a good time with it. So I hope that you see the value in this deep reminder. If this is something that has been abandoned over time in your family, and if it's new to you, try it, apply it, and give me feedback. I want to see y'all plastic containers when you open your refrigerator, or your glass containers when you open your refrigerator. All the different colors of the rainbow, all your proteins, your pasta remade. Yes, that's what I'm talking about, Baba. So let me know, give me some feedbacks and some pictures. I want to see how you get it in. I'm very blessed to be here. Thank you for this space. Ashe.
Ashe, Sister Mariana, thank you so much. And you all know that those are wonderful principles and ideas, and many of you are possibly to some degree doing this already, whether it just be you and one other family member. I know my 2 sisters and I very often buy in bulk and then split things up for each household or what have you. And for whatever reason, I cook for masses, even though I don't have children or anything. It's just how I get down. But so there's always frozen beans or frozen greens or frozen something in the refrigerator. So there's definitely ways to make it go. And just so you know, too, you guys check the chat, because I did see someone in the chat saying, I'm ready to do this, let's get it going. So if that person is near you and this sounds like a good idea to you, you might want to link up with them. So please check the chat. Next up, we are going to have a historical tribute. It's going to be brought to us by Baba Tai. And as usual, we never know what we're going to get. We just sit back and go for the ride, and it's always good. Baba Tai came back from Africa recently, so I'm sure that there's all kinds of stuff going on in his heart and in his spirit that's going to spill over in this tribute. So I'm here for it. So without further ado, Baba Tai, please come forward and let's get our historical tribute going.
Well, thank you, Minister in Training, Sister Rana. Thank you very much. I want to open with the story, if that's okay. When I was a younger man, I went one time to a concert to see the Dells. Some of you might remember the Dells. They were a bunch of, I considered, older gentlemen who would just stand back and sing. Anyway, I went to see the Dells, and before the Dells came out, there was an opening act called The Main Ingredient. And the brother from The Main Ingredient, his name was Cuba Gooding. Some of you might recognize the name Cuba Gooding Jr. He's a pretty renowned actor in the Black community. Anyway, his father was a singer and a great entertainer, and he had a perfect voice. He had high energy. He danced, he sang, he was all over the stage. And when he finished, I thought to myself, how do the Dells follow that? And right now, I feel like the Dells with Sister Mariana. How do I follow that? Sister Mariana, thank you very much for another excellent presentation for your African skills. Thank you very much, my sister. Okay, as Sister Rana just said, I have recently returned from, yay, my sister. I have just recently returned from Africa, and I do have a tradition. Whenever I come back from the motherland, I always bring something for Wose. The last time I went to South Africa, I came back and I brought this plaque, a plaque like this, that now sits on the ancestor table. It has a picture of Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Bob Marley, and Nelson Mandela. That sits on the ancestors table at Wose now. This time I came back and I bought this. I hope you can see it. It's an Adinkra symbol. It's called a Gai Name. And if I'm not pronouncing that correctly, somebody will correct me, I'm sure. But I have brought this back for Wose, and I'm going to give it to Mama Ngina and the rest of the Sanctuary Committee, and hopefully they'll find a place to put it on the ancestors table. And I also brought an identical one back for Wose Sacramento. So Wose, my gifts to you. Okay, this morning's tribute, let me share my screen here. I trust we can all see that. This morning's tribute is about a couple of ancestors named Crystal, unknown, and last name unknown, and Samuel Carson. They were just two ancestors. They or their ancestors were born in Africa, and on Friday, July the 31st, 1998, they were buried in Africa. They were buried at a place called Asin Manso. Now that during the slave trade, that was a huge slave market in Ghana. And that's where many of our newly captured ancestors were taken. Some were sold for the first time. And it was there that they were given their last bath in African waters. I visited this site on my tour of Ghana with Mama Darnisha. And if anybody is interested in visiting Ghana, I highly recommend that you go with Mama Darnisha. She has another trip planned, as I understand it, for January. Anyway, at this Asin Mano is now a sacred site. And there we took off our shoes and we walked the path to the river. And here you see Baba David, walked the path to the river where countless numbers of our ancestors walked during the period of capture and slavery. Here you see Mama Latrice going at the last stop before the river. And our ancestors did not know that they were going to, where they were going was to take their last bath in African waters. That's the river. From here, from this place, shackled, they were forced to walk to a slave dungeon at Cape Coast or at Elmina. They used to call these slave castles, but now we call them what they were, dungeons. They were slave dungeons. Here at the slave dungeon, they were separated by gender, and they were kept in filthy, inhuman conditions. Now, out of respect for the sanctity of our service, and because I don't want to whip up too many vile images or bring out too many hard to handle emotions, I won't go into a lot of detail about the conditions that our people were kept in at this place. But I will say that on the men's side, it was hot, it was dark, even in the daylight. This is Brother David. It was not well ventilated. And you could feel the pain of our people on the walls. This was a room where rebellious male slaves were taken. And once they were put in this room, they never came out alive. Now, on top of the building, over where our people were held, tortured, degraded, and murdered, they built a church. Understand what I'm saying. They prayed to their God on top of our misery, right? Now, today, all across Ghana, our people are still praying to that same God. We saw pictures of white Jesus all across Ghana, but don't be shocked, because all across this country, our people are still praying to that same white God, the God that was given to us by our oppressors, the God that we were forced to follow, and we're still praying to it. But that's a topic for another historical tribute, and I'm not going to dwell with that today. Now, the women's side was no better than the men's side, and in some ways it was worse. The commander of the fort, who was also the governor of the district, had a balcony that looked down on where our naked sisters, the naked women, were kept. And he would come out, and periodically he would point to one, and whoever he pointed to would be taken away and washed and brought to him up the back stairs, these stairs, and to his bedroom. And there he would do unspeakable things to her. And then he would discard her and send her back down to the filth. Now here's a view from the balcony at our two sisters, Mama Latrice and Mama Darnisha, on the floor where their foremothers were held naked. Now, standing on that floor, I, as a man, could feel the emotions left behind by the women who occupied that room. I can only imagine the depth of emotions that our dear sisters here felt, the anguish, the misery, and the fear left on the walls of that room. It was hard for these two sisters to go back in that room when I asked them to, so that I could take this picture. You can see the emotion on their faces. From this place, from this room, our people, those who survived, were ultimately taken to what they called the door of no return. And this is my brother, myself, Mama Darnisha, Baba David, and Mama Latrice standing in front of the door of no return. Now, at the door of no return, once you went through the door of no return, you were shackled to the hull of a slave ship, and you started the horrendous middle passage to the Americas, and you would never see Africa again. That's why they called it the door of no return. Now that brings me to the topic of this morning's historical tribute. Ancestor Crystal, whose, as I said, last name was unknown, and Brother Samuel Carson. Okay. They were two enslaved people that died while enslaved, her in Jamaica and him in America. However, in 1998, their bodies were exhumed, which means they were dug up, and they were sailed back across the Atlantic to the Cape Coast dungeon, where they were symbolically passed back through the door of no return. This was done to reverse the essence of the door of no return. And the name of the door was changed from the door of no return to the door of return. Now, when you walk through this door, the first thing you see is the sign Akwaba, which is the welcome in Ghana. As I said, the ancestors, Mother Crystal and Baba Samuel Carson, were reinterred or buried at Asin Manso. Their grave sites are in what is now called the ancestral graveyard, and they are available to be viewed. Since their interment in 1998, other formerly enslaved ancestors have been brought back through the door of return and buried at Asimano. Here on their tombstones, since you can't read it, their tombstones read, his says, in memory of Samuel Carson, our enslaved ancestor from the United States of America, reinterred on July 31st, 1998. And hers reads, in memory of Crystal, our beloved ancestor from Jamaica, reinterred on July 31st, 1998. So this morning's service is dedicated generally to all of our enslaved ancestors who passed through the door of no return. But most especially, it's dedicated to Mama Crystal and Baba Samuel Carson and others who have come back through the door and have now have turned it from the door of no return to the door of return. Madasi, which means thank you, will say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ty. Thank you for that. Ashe. Thank you, Brother Tayema. Ashe.
Medase. Medase.
Asheo. All right, y'all. All right. Next. Thank you. Next, we are going to have the Litany of Sacrifice brought to us by Mama Michelle and Baba Damani. So please come forward with the Litany of Sacrifice.
Oh, good morning, everyone. Okay, time in our service, we make sure our financial institutions remain solvent, and we give back what was freely given. Okay, this morning's reading is from the book of Ptahhotep, page 47, number 18. Be generous as long as you live. What goes into the storehouse should come out, for bread is made to be shared. Those whose bellies are empty turn into accusers, and those who are deprived become opponents. See that none such as these are your neighbors. Generosity is a memorial for those who show it long after they have departed. So on the screen coming up is the addresses and the emails where you can, well, not yet, okay. Oh yeah, okay, there you go. Those are the emails to Wose Oakland, Wose Sacramento. You can send your donations to. Personally, I use PayPal. I also like to put a plug in for Ilioma Day. Everybody is welcome and encourage you to give a monthly donation to Ilioma Day, help our institution, help our schools stay afloat, stay solvent. Anyway, okay, those are the, okay, here we go. Save us, O Holy One, by your name. Vindicate us by your might. Hear my prayer, divine protector. Listen to the words of my mouth. How can we pay the Holy One for the gifts that have been given to us? We will lift up the cup of salvation and call upon the God of our ancestors. We will fill our vows to our Creator in the presence of all our people. Gladly we bring our sacrifices to you. We praise your name, O Amun Ra, for it is good. Umoja, unity. We should strive to maintain unity in family, community, nation, and race.
Kujichagulia, self-determination. We shall define, name, create, and speak for ourselves.
Ujima, collective work and responsibility. We should build and maintain our communities together. Our brothers and sisters' problems should be ours to solve together.
Ujamaa, cooperative economics. Together we shall build and maintain our own businesses and together profit from them.
Nia, purpose. We should make our collective vocation, the building and developing of our community and the restoration of our people to our traditional greatness.
Kuumba, creativity. We shall do as much as we can in any way we can to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than when we inherited it.
Imani, faith. We will believe with all our hearts in our God, our people.
And in the righteousness and victory of our struggle. Thank you. Please bow your head for prayer. O Mother, Father, God, she who is the Most High, the maker of all that is and shall be, the giver of all our needs, the knower of what is beyond truth. We come together before you as we'll say. We share, we state who we are, we state what we will do. We pray that our sacrifices will meet our community's needs so that our leaders stay strong and wise while leading us in faith. We sacrifice so our teachers can teach our youth and children. We sacrifice so our elders can continue to reach us and encourage us. We sacrifice to gain justice and equality just as our ancestors have. We sacrifice so that our prayers have a home to generate power within for the purpose of Ma'at, truth, justice, harmony, balance, and much more. Please bless those who have made a sacrifice to Wose, a sacrifice of generosity, sacrifice of words, deeds, or dollars. It's a gift to God, and by which the Almighty shall share to meet our needs, foremost for the sick and suffering and those needing safe passage. Bless the givers, Amun Ra. Encourage them to know and use their special talents so that they can boldly and generously give in the future. For our sacrifices widen your light, a light I can feel upon us as we pray. Amen. Ashe.
Ashe, Ashe, everyone. I just want to take a moment before I introduce the message and say, would everyone please, down on the bottom line of your Zoom screen, there's a place where it says reactions. And I'm just going to ask everyone to please put up a heart for me if our historical tribute today just really moved you. I wanted to go further into saying thank you in that moment, but I was so caught up in my emotions that I feared that if I opened that door, I would not be able to close it again. Okay, thought I was past it. But I just want him to know that we appreciate that message. And he's not a man of no feelings, so I know it was hard to even deliver it. So I just want us to throw up some love to Baba Tai for sharing that with us. All right. Who gave me this job? I don't know. Okay. The next person coming up for us is one who can handle this situation. And that is the main man, the man with the plan, the man who started it all, the man who's been here from the beginning, the man who is not about rockets and colors flying and all of that. He's the man that's going to give you what you need. And that is our one and only Minister Mxolisi. And as I understand it, we're going to have a song as well as a message. So I'm overjoyed. I could use a song. Whenever you're ready to give it, I'm ready to hear it. So again, one of our original ministers of our first family, partner in crime to Minister Imhotep. We welcome Minister Mxolisi. Bring us the message today. Come on in, Minister Mxolisi. Ready or not?
Ashe, Ashe, Amen Ra, Etep will say. It is so good to be with you this morning, giving thanks and praises for that historical tribute. Touched my heart. I'm sure it touched any and everybody's heart. If you have any conscience, any spirit, any care about who we are as South African people, that had to touch you. Give thanks and praises for Brother Damu for his song, for his continued dedication, his spirit. Giving thanks and praises for all of those who come week in and week out to share their spirit, to share their love, to be people of the sacred African way. And yeah, I got a song. I might end up with 2 or 3 songs before it's all over. But anyway, send me thanks and praises for this opportunity to share a message with the Wose community this day. So I want to start off with a song that was inspired by reading The Destruction of Black Civilization. And when Dr. Chancellor Williams started talking about people of the sun, if I'm remembering right, this is the first song that I ever put together in my life. And so it's a song entitled, We Are People, We're Children of the Sun. And so it goes like this. We are children of the sun. In every task we shall overcome. We were first upon the earth. We'll be the last. That's the holy word. We were first to look at life, to ask the questions why. We were first to hear and heed answers from the Most High. We were first to build a world of love and unity. We were first to know the truth of reciprocity. Yeah, yeah, we are children of the sun. In every task we shall overcome. Yeah, yeah. We were first upon the earth. We'll be the last. That's the holy word. Now we face a fateful task here in this troubled land to resurrect our hearts and minds, to build a mighty plan, to build foundations for the people of the way. This work will surely test the genius of the race. Yeah, yeah, we are children of the sun. In every task we shall overcome. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We are first upon this earth. Yeah, yeah, and we'll be the last. That's the holy word. Oh, 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 we'll be the last. That's the holy word. Yeah, 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 we'll be the last. That's the holy word. We are children of the sun. Give thanks and praise. And that's S-U-N. Ashe, children of
Yes, we
that
are.
sun. Ashe, ashe. Anyway, have this message today, and I've been led to entitle it, Increasing the Population of Mott-Based Civilization. And I'm getting inspiration from Dr. Chancellor Williams' work, as well as the work of our renowned ancestor of wisdom, Ptah. First passage I want to read with you today is from Destruction of Black Civilization on page 97 in the volume that I have, when Dr. Williams shares his view, his understanding from this great work of his that says, the great civilization of the Blacks that for countless ages was centered around Norway or Thebes. I'm understanding that's also Wose or Waset. That civilization did not just happen. Progress does not happen automatically. Every forward step made by these early Blacks was made, you might say, even say forced, by the imperatives of what had to be done to survive. Bear in mind that spiritual survival was more important than physical, a concept the modern world is not expected to understand at all. And we're going to go back to Dr. Williams a little bit later for another reading, but right now I want to go to the Husid, page 48, and this passage number 20 by Ptah-hotep. If respect for right exists in the hearts of those who have been set in authority, they will be beneficent always, and their wisdom shall endure forever. The heart of the wise rejoices when wisdom is established and is happy when it prospers on earth. The wise are known by their wisdom and the great by their good actions. Their heart is in harmony with their tongue. Their lips are true when they speak. Their eyes see rightly, and their ears hear that which is profitable for their children, so that they may do what is right and are free from unrighteousness. And so I'm going to go back to Ptah-hotep also a little bit later for another of his readings, but right now, so I want to give thanks and praises, O divine creator, for this day of life, health, and strength, for these wisdom words that comes from those scholars, most recent scholar, Dr. Chancellor Williams, the ancient scholar, Ptah-hotep, who did all they could in every way they could to pass on to us information, knowledge, inspiration, by which we would endeavor to be all that we could be by the power of your energy, your essence within us. Lead us and guide us on that path. Help us to rise up, help us to wake up, help us to do all we can every day, every way we can, to make life more beautiful and beneficial for ourselves, for our people, for generations beyond our imagination. May these words that have been brought to me be useful and beneficial to this community, to these my people, my family. Lead me, let my tongue be in harmony with my heart. May my heart be in harmony with yours as we move along this path of the sacred African way. Ashe, Amen Ra. Ashe. Increasing the population of the Mott-based civilization. Well, in the beginning, our Creator had a plan and called for a people in our motherland. And so it was. And our sacred ancestors came into being with a measure of our Creator's sacred essence entrusted unto them. And we don't know how long it took them to develop that consciousness, that understanding, but insights they developed through the seeing of their eyes and the hearing of their ears, the breathing of their nostrils, and the creative decision-making power of their hearts and minds led them to bring civilization into being. But the civilization which they created was significantly different from what they call civilization today. As the work of Dr. Williams informs us, it was something that grew from their diligent, unrelenting, forced decisions sometimes, that grew from their determination to survive. Their determination to survive, to study the structure and function of the sky, to study the structure and function of the earth, and to study the interactions between human beings, brothers and sisters, men and women, the animals, the creatures. What do we do to make the most of this circumstances and decision? So when we want to have a peaceful life, a rewarding life, we want to have inspiring days of life, what do we need to do to make that our reality? You know, our studies and our experiences have led us to understand that they finally grew to understand that it was the presence of a special force within them, that made them always seeking whatever they were doing. They always sought truth and justice and righteousness. They always sought harmony and balance and right order, reciprocity. And they made decisions based on those elements, those forces stirred up within them that they discovered through their relationships with each other, their relationships with nature, with the universe, to the extent that they were able. And they grew to know that special force as Ma'at. They grew to know that special force as Ma'at, something entrusted into them by the heart, the mind, the soul, the spirit of our Creator. They grew to that understanding. And they did all they could in every way they could to make life more beautiful and beneficial for themselves and for their families, for their people, for their community. To see that every man, every woman, every boy, every girl understood and embraced that consciousness, embraced that spirit, embraced that way of life from day one of their existence until their transition to the spiritual realm. They did all they could every day they could, as diligently as they could, to make that their reality, to make that their civilization. That was the foundation for African civilization, which gave birth to science, gave birth to learning, gave birth to art and engineering, gave birth to agricultural excellence and architectural excellence, gave birth to history and writing and music and healing and songs and dance and poetry. Dr. Chancellor Williams outlines that for us. This is that's the foundation for what these folks nowadays are doing, going crazy, going mad, spending all that resources to get a 10-minute ride in the sky. Like, for what? We got people on this earth that need help with health issues, need help with getting food for themselves and their families, need help with staying in the places of their homes right now, not getting kicked out on the street by people with money and power, going about playing golf and on their vacations. This was the foundation for love, for unity, for peace and harmony. It was the foundation for a constitution that guaranteed the right to an equal share of all the benefits from common community undertakings if one has contributed to the fullest extent of his or her ability. You know, some of us have greater abilities, more creativity, more finances, but others have less. And if we just all do to the extent that we're able to the extent that spirit moves us to the extent that it's expected and desired by family and community, that whatever benefits, whatever profits, whatever blessings flow from those efforts, if you contributed to the best of your ability, you're going to get a share, an equal share. You're going to be blessed with what your family, what your life needs. Oh, we need that kind of civilization. Yes, we do. And so the challenge that we face is to do all that we can in every way that we can in order to reestablish this consciousness, this desire, this determination for this civilization in the hearts and minds and the spirits of our people all over the world. You know, in Oakland, in Sacramento, in Amelia, Virginia, in Georgia, in North Carolina, South Carolina, in Florida, in DC, in Chicago, in LA, you know, wherever we are on this planet, in Ghana, in Tunisia, in Jamaica, wherever we are on this planet. So Dr. Williams described the challenge. Go back to his work, looking on page 381, 382. I mean, this is the last paragraph in this great work that he did, the many chapters, the many visits, the many years that he spent on the continent, talking with the people, interacting with the people, high and low, interacting, getting the information, getting the history, getting the understanding. So he ends up with this, speaking to us. The task that we now face will test the genius of the Black race. Blacks in the United States are in the best position as a leader-off example for the rest of the African race. The challenge to the Blacks of this continent is to overcome the centuries of our own American version of tribalism and disunity. You know, in his studies, he discovered, you know, that we weren't always perfect people, that we had our issues, we had our problems, vision, disunity. Sometimes we had war with one another, but when Africans went to war with one another back there in those early days, you know, when too many people got hurt, they called a timeout. Whoa, wait a minute, hold on. we got a better way to settle this. And so we, you know, that disunity over here isn't always like that. I mean, we may not killing each other, but we just get divided and stay divided. I'm gonna be a Christian, I'm gonna be a Muslim, you're gonna be whatever you are, and we just not gonna come together and do anything with that. Dr. Williams says, no, we can't do that. We can't tolerate that. We have to overcome that tribalism and disunity that's affected us. It is our greatest challenge in this era of perpetual crisis. We've got to overcome the disunity, the tribalism, that they will accept it if they have come to understand at last that equal rights and equal justice will never, never come from appeals to the mighty, especially to the Eurocentric mighty, and granted as an act of grace, but only from their own position of power and influence, which developed from a united people engaged in great and vast undertakings of their own. I'm gonna stop right there. I'm not gonna read that last sentence because we don't need that. But if we agree with this assessment by Dr. Williams, this closing paragraph to his great work, with his vision, it puts us into a position, as I see it, described by what Ptah has presented to us. You know, not necessarily in a position of authority, but in a position of desire and determination, in a position of opportunity. We got to do all that we can in every way we can to help us as a people come together and be that people, come together and be the foundation, the founders, the builders, the reestablishers of a civilization that's driven, that's inspired by the power of the spirit of Ma'at within us, by our desire for truth, justice, and righteousness for all life on this earth, by our desire for harmony and balance and righteousness, divine right order for all of our people, for the first and most important step, for the first and most important step is for us, for our people. And we hope it'll work for other people of this earth also, but we have to be dedicated, we have to be diligent to that pursuit. Like I say, not because we're set in authority, but we've got opportunity. We've got invitation. We got this spirit of Ma'at stirred up in us and saying, no, we have to make some difference in this world. If we agree with Dr. Williams' vision, if we agree and can feel the energy, the spirit of Ma'at flowing through Ptah's assessment. So if we agree, then we are called to always be seeking to do the good things that will embed within the hearts of our people, in the hearts of our children, in the hearts of our young and not so young. It's a desire that this Ma'at-based civilization come back to life on a larger scale. You know, there are organizations like we'll say across the country and perhaps in the motherland also that are relating to the Ma'at-based way of life. Dr. Williams shared with us that, you know, all the trials and tribulations that our people went through, sometimes being overrun by the war machinery of invaders, the war machinery of folks coming in with a desire to destroy us. We always held on to the idea, to the understanding that this my way of life is going to survive. This my way of life is going to be restored. That we're going to rebuild our communities. We're going to rebuild our nations. That day is coming. We're continuing to work for it, even as we're under the suffering, the madness, the insanity, the evilness of those forces working against us. We've got to have that attitude, that inspiration, that power at work in us today in these United States, so-called United States of America. If we agree with Dr. Williams, if we agree with Ptah Hotep, then we have to do all that we can, every way we can, to get that desire, that determination understood by our people and embedded in their hearts and souls, embedded in their minds and their spirits, young and not so young. And rise up, and rise up. If we agree, then we must rise up individually and collectively. Rise up collectively, communally. We have to rise up using the powers of the seeing of our eyes, the hearing of our ears, the breathing of our nostrils, the power of our hearts and minds to find the words, that will make a difference. But even more than the words, to do the deeds. You know, when we look at that symbol for Amen-Ra, and we come to the Ra part, we have the mouth, Ra. The R sounds the mouth. Say the words, but the to me, the part of that word that takes the most time and the most energy is the part that relates to that arm and hand, and that's to do the work. So Karenga is one, and there are others perhaps that say, words are wonderful, but deeds are divine. So we have to find the words, but then find the dedication, the willingness, the diligence to get out and do the work that is required to get more of our people to understand that we've got to change our way of life. We got to change and stop being so individualistic. We got to change and stop being so materialistic. We got to change and start doing those things that will make the beautiful spiritual visionary difference for our people, for our children. We've got to change and be more inspirational in our young people's lives than playing Fortnite on their smartphones, on their ignorant phones, or whatever you want to call those things. We've got to find the way to do what will make the profound, visionary, spiritual difference in their lives, in their hearts, in their minds. We've got to teach the children. And that was one of the most precious, important thing in that ancient African civilizations, that to develop that that educational system, that age grade school system that started with children in the earliest days of life. They got off of mother's breastfeeding. It was time to get them into the educational system. You're going to play some games in the early days of their life, in the early days of the educational system, but very early in life, those games became directed towards understanding the spirituality of our existence. We want to keep this spiritual civilization alive and well. And as you moved on up the age grade ladder, even within the group you were in, if you were the oldest in the group, you were expected to be a living model for the younger people that's coming into that age grade. And if you move up to the next age grade level, you've got to be the oldest in that group, living model for those in that group, as well as the group that's coming behind you. We have to get that kind of consciousness, that kind of dedication, that kind of diligence across to ourselves, to our people. If we agree with Dr. Williams, if we agree with Ptah Hotep, then we've got to be doing all we can, every way that we can. As a community, we've got to rise up together, to create, Wose, Oakland, Wose, Sacramento. We've got to rise up together to Wose, the Council of Elders, commissioners, just regular members of the community. We got to get together, put our hearts and minds together to find the words, to find the experiences, to find the works that we can share with our people that are so many that's out on the street, don't know what they're gonna do, don't know what they have to do. That so many that feel like, well, the way I'm gonna show my manhood is by beating the devil out of one of my brothers over here and taking their shoes. The way I'm gonna show my manhood is getting out here on July 4th and getting out in the middle of the street out here on the middle of MacArthur and shooting guns up in the air, and if the bullets fall down and hit somebody, well, that ain't my problem, that's their problem. The way I'm gonna show my manhood and who I am is just how many babies I can make, and ain't gonna take no time to worry about raising them. We've got to do all we can in every way we can to change, to wipe that self-destructive consciousness out of the hearts and minds of our people, and get us to see ourselves that we're able to be loving people. We're able to master the sciences. We're able, even when we were in the so-called segregated schools and we had so-called second-class materials, history says that we've created more professional people coming out of that educational system when there was a greater relationship between families and the faculty, African American, the Black family, the African American, the Black scholars who were the teachers in those classes, and you don't come to school with no stupidness, because the teacher will get on your behind, call your mama and your daddy, and you get it on your behind when you get back home. You know, we may find other ways to do that, but we got to have that kind of interaction, that communication. Hey, when the integration came, that was wiped out. Black teachers, hey, you've got no job in this system. Black administrators, you're not gonna be in here having no say so over my white sons and daughters. Now, we've got to get back together and establish more Ileomo days across the country, around the world. We got to get back together. And if it's not something that can be done every day, what do we do with ourselves on the weekends? We can have Ileomo Day type education, consciousness raising going on all across this country, all around this world. But we've got to do some work to get that spirit into our people. You can be, be a Christian. It's all right. Anthony Browder shares with us, with other scholars share. Now, if you're gonna be a Christian, you need to understand the African roots of Christianity. If you're gonna be a Christian, you might need to understand, what did it mean when Jesus said, according to that chapter somewhere in the book of John, I'm getting ready to go be with the Father. And want to let you know that these things that I have done, you can do, and even more. It's in your hands if it's in your heart. I don't know about Islam. I don't know much about their text, but I do know that they say they have a measure of reverence and respect for Jesus the Christ. And so I think that same message is to them, especially to the African American Muslims. Hey, I'm going to be with the Father. What I have done, what's inspirational to you out of what you understand I have done, you can do, and even more. Somehow, what does that message mean? What do those words mean? What must we as a people do with that consciousness, with that spirit, with that understanding? We understand that we've been blessed with the spirit of Mont. We've been blessed with the power of the seeing of our eyes, the hearing of our ears, the breathing of our nostrils, the power of our hearts and minds, the same energies. We're not talking literally about eyes and ears and mouth and heart for the creator, but that's the same kinds of energies. The creator can look at the mess and the madness in the noon and decide, no, this is not what creation is to be about. That same energy is within us. This is not what it's meant to be about, to have folks who would enslave our folks and build a so-called church above the basement, the cellar, what do you have you, where the enslavement, where the brutality, where the demonic things were being imposed upon our people, upon our men, and upon our women, and then go upstairs and praise the Lord. No, we need to get out of that consciousness and know that we are better than that. To know that our ancestors are the foundation of religion, the kind of foundation of spiritual tradition. And it wasn't about enslaving. It wasn't about raping. It wasn't about just dehumanizing folks. It was about, knowing truth and justice and righteousness in all relationships, knowing harmony and balance and divine right order, knowing reciprocity. We have to get that message across to our people everywhere on this earth. And we need to get the information out. I don't know if we'll say Oakland. I'm sure we've had a form of this, but Sacramento has this beautiful folder about the Wose community, about our dedication to Mott, and includes what we practice and what we believe. The Wose Community Church is a community of the way. We need to explain to folks what that means. Explain to folks, and not let them be under, when the European scholars write about what African people did, what the African society and civilization was about, especially when they come to the idea of healing, and our ancestors brought their knowledge about herbs and spices and other things out of nature that could be used to heal and pray to the spirit, to the power beyond us for healing. And healing happened, the European scholars, they call that magic. But when their own people did that thing, they call it divine healing. So we need to get with ourselves and help our people understand those kind of demonic differences that get applied to who we are and what we're doing, and let them know this is what Wose is all about, that we understand and believe in the teachings of our elders and our ancestors, that the Creator God created the universe and all of life, and is placed in each of us a part of the divine spirit that exists. It's stated differently, but that exists, Christians, in your Bible, that we were created in the image and likeness of the Creator. And that wretchedness stuff, that comes from some other scholars, some other folks that had some other interests that they were promoting, but the initial word is that we're created in the image and likeness of the Creator. And if you're in that image and that likeness, that spirit, that power, that potential, then you've got the power to overcome anything and everything that seeks to make you less than that. Anything and everything that makes you less than that. And that's what the Wose community is about. It's God living in us and through us. He's given us the right and the power to establish peace and justice in all human life in true harmony with all of creation, And we certainly need that. Right now, with what's happening in creation, with climate change, and folks that, no, there ain't no climate change. Some people say that's the Lord doing. No, that's humanity doing, because humanity keeps doing these things that the scientists are telling us that are interfering with the atmosphere. That's changing how the elements interact with each other. And that's making life more difficult. They tell us even before this heat issue this year, they tell us that heat is one of the most destructive things to human life, because we don't give the kind of consideration to what this is going to be doing to people that don't have air conditioners. For some of those hundreds of people that died in Canada, they didn't have no air conditioners because they never had the need for that. Just think about our people in the motherland. If that kind of heat, and this has happened, and they don't have, so many don't even have electricity, let alone the air conditioner to go with it. We have to get some change in how we look at what's going on in the world, how we interact with each other, how we interact with nature, how we interact with the universe. That our way is not merely ritual or belief. Our way is a way of life. Our way is a way of life. So we've got work to do. We've got work to do. So if we agree, then we need to rise up, to locate, to communicate with organizations and communities, churches and others, having similar values, having similar aims and objectives, similar hopes, having some measure of the similarity in their vision, We can meet with them in Zoom services. We can have some Zoom service, you know, monthly or quarterly or whatever, that we'll listen to some of their presentations, and then the next time around they can listen to our presentations. We can find some way to communicate on a more frequent basis and just get to understand who we are, and can we be on the same page on some things? Can we be on the same page in the more important things that we need as a people, so we can get back to increase the participation in a Mach-based civilization? We have to change. We have to change. We have to change what's going on. So let's find the ways to bring that consciousness, to bring that vision, to bring that spirit, to bring that unity to the front line of our efforts to destroy self-destruction as a way of life among the young and not so young, to overthrow the political poison that is making this so-called Eurocentric civilization more monstrous, atrocious, grievous, and anti-African again. We've got to do all we can every way we can. Amen Ra, help us to rise up. Help us to honor the call of the spirit and power of Ma'at within, to do all we can in every way we can to make life more beautiful for ourselves here and now, and for generations beyond our imagination, that we will be found worthy of memory in their hearts and in their minds. Let us rise up, O say. Let us be diligent 24/7, 365. Let us do all we can, every day we can, every way we can, to increase the population of a Ma'at-based civilization. It's in our hands if it's in our hearts, because we are children of the sun. In every task, we shall overcome. We were first upon the earth, and we'll be the last. That's the holy word. So let's rise up for truth and justice. Let's rise up for balance and harmony. Let's rise up for divine right order and reciprocity. Let's rise up for Umoja and Kuji Chagalia. Let's rise up with those virtues of our sacred way, to control our thoughts, to control our actions, to be devoted to the purpose for which we are placed upon this earth, to create, to continue the process of creation, to make beauty out of ugliness, to make harmony out of disorder. Let us rise up and deal always with truth. Rise up to get to know the difference between the real and the unreal, the right from the wrong. Let us rise up. Let us rise up. It's in our hands. If it's in our hearts, let us all decide to do our part to make the divine sacred difference. Amen Ra, Holy One, help us to do all we can in every way we can. Oh, the Lord is blessing me right now, right now. The Lord is blessing me right now, right now. Ra woke me up this morning, started me on my way. Amen. Ra is blessing me right now. Ra woke me up this morning, clothed in my right mind, and didn't wake me up too late. Ra woke me right on time. Woke me up this morning, started me on my way. Amen. Ra is blessing me right now. Ra woke me up this morning to work, study, and pray. Put my feet on the holy ground of the sacred African way. I feel Ra's love and power here this very hour. Amen. Ra is blessing us right now. Right now, right now, right now, right now. Amen. Ra is blessing us right now. Right now, right now, right now, right now. Amen. Ra is blessing us right now. Ra wakes us up each morning in the spirit of might. Lets us see the sacred way, the potential that we've got with the vision of life, free of despair and strife. Amen. Ra is blessing us right now. Amen. Ra is blessing us right now. Oh, yeah. Amen. Ra is blessing us right now. Let's do all we can in every way we can to increase the population of the Mott-driven civilization. Ashe, ashe.
Ashe.
Thank you, Minister.
Ashe.
Good job, Suneb. We'll say community, as our minister just emphasized, if you're ready to help increase this population of Ma'at-minded people, this is the time in our service where we extend an invitation to join this movement, this way of life that embraces our culture, to join this movement, this way of life that celebrates our people, this way of life that continues the legacy of our ancestors. If you're ready to join a movement that seeks to empower our community, that seeks to chart and ensure and secure a future for our children, we are extending an invitation to you to join this Wose movement. Is there one who would like to join this Wose movement today? If so, if you can unmute yourself or raise your hand so we can acknowledge you and recognize you at this time. Okay, well, none have answered the call today, but the message has been given. What we believe, what we practice has been affirmed. We are here and we aren't going anywhere. We thank you for joining us today. And at this time, I will turn the service back over to our coordinator, Minister in Trainings, Sister Rana.
Thank you. As I put in the chat, Minister Mxolisi gonna serve you your coffee black. You get no cream, you get no sugar. Well, you might get a song and we can use that for sugar, but you getting your coffee straight up, and I appreciate it so much. Next, we're going to have Baba Damu come forward with Lift Every Voice and Sing to see us out. And then after that, we will have our closing by Minister Mali. So Baba Damu, if you are ready, please come forward with a song, Lift Every Voice and Sing. Thank you so much, Baba Damu. And Minister Malley for the close, please. Mr. Malley, if you are not available, we got about 25 other ministers on the line. We can get a close. Okay, so we're going to move forward. Minister Alicia, would you like to close us out?
Sure. Now to them who is able to lift us up faultless before the throne on high, let us be empowered so that we are moving with one aim, one focus,
One focus,
one destiny,
one destiny,
one love,
One
one
love,
love,
one heart,
one heart,
one God.
one God.
And let us call upon that name of the one God who our ancestors have from countless times and for time immemorial. Let us all say together.
Amen. Ashi,
You are
Ashi.
the most
The most
beautiful
beautiful people
on the
On
face
the
of the
face
earth.
of this earth.
of this earth.
Ashi,
That
Ashi.
is the truth. And I would just also like to say thank you to the ancestors who have come and graced us with their presence as we had opened the door and the way for them to come. We thank you ever so much, ancestors. We thank you, ancestors, for being here. Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashi.
Sheo.